So I have been living out of this Peak Design travel backpack for the last 6 months now, and I think it's finally time to tell you all how it went and how I liked the bag. And this is not a paid review. I decided not to do those things. But Peak Design reached out and sent me this bag for free to test. And the bag I was using is the Peak Design 45 liters, even though I always used it as a 35-liter bag. Here it has some zippers on the side where you could extend the size to 45 liters, which honestly I never used because for me in the end 35 liters was the perfect size. And I honestly think if I would have extended it, then it would probably be difficult in airlines, especially in Europe. And you can also compress the bag to 30 liters. There's some clips up here where you could make it smaller, which is also a feature that I never used. So in my review, I really used it as a 35-liter bag, even though it's the Peak Design 45-liter. And I'm sorry that it took me so long to publish this review, but I think I have been massively overthinking it on how I want to do it. But in the end, I kind of realized that I don't see myself as a bag reviewer. I think there's already lots of great reviews out there that tell you about every fabric and what kind of zipper and stuff. I personally see myself more as a bag user. I kind of decided on a few categories that are important to me. So the first one would be, did it fit my stuff? I always have to laugh when people in the comments say that I always massively overpack and I bring too much. But the difference for me is that I don't have an apartment anymore, so everything I bring is more or less everything I own. And I think that's also a good thing because I believe it will make it a little bit more comparable between the bags when I always pack the same stuff into the bags. The next category is I want to talk a little bit about how it was to actually travel with this bag, how it performed on travel days when you run from the bus to the plane to the train to whatever, and lots of walking in between and how accessible everything was that I needed. And the next category is something that is extremely important to me, but unfortunately is rarely talked about, and that is how it is to actually live out of this bag. I personally don't unpack. When I arrive at my destination, I prefer to just open up the zipper, live out of the bag, and when it's time to go, zip it up and be out the door. So I don't unpack or anything. And even when I'm at home in Austria, as I said, I don't own an apartment anymore. I basically live out of this bag every single day of my life. And in the end, I will just give you a little verdict about this bag. So let's talk about it. So did it fit all my stuff? The easy answer is yes, it absolutely did. And I had room to spare. So let me just quickly show you what I packed. There's lots of pockets and stuff. I did not use all of them, but I'm just going to show you quickly what I put where. So here, there's a little compartment on top that basically I just use to keep a few things accessible while traveling. So I usually keep some tissues and stuff in there. I also keep all the removable parts from the bag. So here are straps that you can attach here on these loops. They used to be down here in this magnetic compartment, but I was worried that I would lose them, so I moved them up here. And here, this is also the chest strap that I removed, but I will talk a little bit about that later. Then when I open the front here, I get to this front compartment. Here I basically just kept all the things that I want accessible while traveling. My sunglasses case was in here. I had a headband in case it was cold and windy. I had my umbrella. I had a foldable cap. I had my towel, just in case we sit down in a place where it's not so nice, or at the beach. Here in this compartment in the front, I just kept my charger and some cable and this little MagSafe charger for my watch and my phone. Then I carried a jacket. Another bag that I have in here is my snack bag. It's actually also from Peak Design, but I already own it since a few years now, and it has a zipper. So I always use it to just have some snacks, or when I get separated from my bag, then I will just use this to put my iPad and all those things inside and have them with me. And then actually here are two more zippered compartments. Here in this bottom one, I just keep my laundry gear. There's not too much left of it. And up here, I always collected like teas and stuff. And when I open this divider, I get into the main compartment. And in here, I easily fit everything that I usually bring with me. Plus, as you can see, I have some room to spare. So this very quickly, because I basically have the same modules than I always have. I have my flip-flops here. I have my little Bellroy desk caddy. that carries all the things that I want next to my bed and like my first aid kit and stuff. I have my toiletry bag. I have a packing cube with my clothes. Down here I have the case for my iPad Pro. I rarely use laptop compartments because I'm always worried that my iPad will bend, and I'm iPad only since a few years already, but it's almost impossible to find a backpack without. And the last thing I have here is my Peak Design camera cube. And as you can see, I already owned quite a lot of Peak Design things, and really all my packing cubes fit inside this bag like a glove. Another thing that I really enjoyed are the bottle holders, and they are quite generous. So I was even able to fit my huge Grail Geopress water purifier in there. And also this bag has a side access, so you can open it from the side here. And I don't know if you can see it in here, there's this little plastic part that you can stick through this loop here. And then the zipper is secured and cannot be opened. So it's either you can open it all the time, which I did not want for security reasons, or you can not open it at all from the outside. So I would say that this bag really passed this category because I was easily able to fit all my things. So one thing I really loved on travel days is this huge front compartment here. Basically in here I had all those things that I needed to access on the road. And over here I always kept my jacket. And I also always had my bag. And I really liked it that this huge front compartment was separated with this divider from the main compartment. So I could really keep all my stuff secured on those travel days, but at the same time, everything I wanted to access was easily accessible from the front. So let's talk a little bit about how comfortable it was to carry this bag. And I'm 166, and this bag, I think, was almost a little bit too big for me. Even though I have rather wide shoulders for a girl, I would say, the straps were just a little bit too far out for me. So it always kind of pulled my shoulders back here on the joints. For a while I tried to strap them more together with the chest strap, but then I had the next problem that basically they squished into my boobs. And that was a little bit painful at some point. That's why also I decided at the end to take off the chest straps, also because I'm notoriously at losing loose parts. Honestly, after a few weeks of carrying it, it got a little bit more comfortable, or maybe I just didn't notice it that much anymore. Maybe it's more for like guys without curves, with lots of muscles. I don't know. Well, my husband also carried it because we went on a weekend trip together, and we decided to only bring one bag, and he also did not find it comfortable. Not saying that my husband has no muscles. I don't know where this video is going. And I also could not really use the hip strap because the torso, or my torso, is not long enough for this bag. So the hip strap was a little bit too low. So it did not really help me too much. So I kept this one tucked away at all times. Another point where I noticed that I'm not tall enough for this bag is here on the straps. I'm even too small to show you, but maybe you can see that here the ends of the shoulder straps are sewn against or secured against the strap, so nothing dangles around. But unfortunately, since my shoulder straps are very tight, they always form this loop here, and I often snatched my fingers in these loops, and that was painful sometimes. So for a while I thought maybe I just cut them off and remove this loop there. But then I thought, well, it's not the perfect bag for me. I will give it away to one of you guys. More about that a little bit later. And I will just leave it as it is, so someone of you gets the nicest bag possible. So I went on airplanes, I put it in the overhead compartment, no problem at all. I went in trains, I went in buses. In the bus, I actually had a new situation because my old bag always fit on the compartment inside the bus. This one didn't, and when the first bus ride was happening, I was a little bit too confident, and I told the bus driver, no, mine fits, don't worry. And then I basically had to carry this beast for 2 hours on my lap because the bus was very full and it did not end up fitting in the bus overhead compartments. But from then on I knew, and I just put it underneath the bus with the regular luggage. So I combined this bag with my Bellroy sling that I like very much. That was reasonably comfortable to wear the two at the same time. And then I have no problem giving my bag away because all my valuables are always on me. The only time it was a little bit tight was in lockers in Spain. So when we arrived in a city and we stayed for a few hours, we usually would put the backpacks into a rented locker. But if it would have been fully packed, I don't think that we would have been able to put it into one of those lockers for carry-on sized bags. And especially during our trip in Spain, it was where I struggled the most with this bag, because we usually walked around 20,000 steps every day and I carried this bag most of the time. And the first thing I really struggled with was the weight. Suddenly I was the one with the heaviest bag, which is a role that I'm really not used to. I had a little bit of a problem with the airplane because on the way back from Spain, we flew with a budget airline and we only had 7 kilos allowance. I really had to unpack a few of the things that I usually bring to make it work in the airline. So unfortunately, carry comfort for me is not the highest on this bag, but I think, as I said, there's probably a body type that finds this more comfortable. So how was it to actually live out of this bag? So one thing I really liked, as you can see here, even though the bag is empty, the walls are very stiff and they stand upright. And that was very easy to just keep my things in there. And I also always kept my iPad up here on top. And that's why I velcroed it with the handle into this thing, so it stayed in place. Every time I opened the laptop compartment here, that I was able to immediately access my iPad. I personally did not use those side accesses, so I only opened the bag from the front or from the back. Basically, this feature that I loved so much when on the go was a little bit more of a challenge when I was living out of it. The zipper did not go all the way to the bottom, and when I fold this over, I'm easily losing 10 centimeters where it does not open fully. And that also means that I cannot pack anything more stiff into this pocket or that pocket, because then it would stick in even further. And let me just quickly put the things back inside so I can show you the other opening. This I also always found a little bit challenging to find the little zipper down there. In the back, it opens all the way from here, and here I could also tuck away the shoulder straps if I would want to with the magnet here, which is a very nice feature, I think. But when I open it like this, unfortunately, all the pockets down here are not easily accessible. I mean, these ones here on the divider have zippers in both directions, so at least these ones I could access, but everything that is in the front pocket there is very difficult for me to access. So in the end, I mainly access the bag from the front, because I think if I have all those nice pockets here, I should be able to access them. But I really wish that this zipper would just go down 10 centimeters more and I would be able to open it all the way. So my final verdict about this bag is that I think is a great bag. I mean, the build quality is fantastic. There's lots of features I really love about this bag, but unfortunately, it's just not the perfect bag for me. And I will talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I honestly believe that this bag will make someone else very happy, and that's why I decided I will give it away to one of you guys. I'm in the lucky situation that lots of companies now reach out and ask me if they can send me bags for free to test, just like this bag. And honestly, I have no apartment, I have no place where I could stack them up or have a wall full of unused bags. So I much more prefer that those bags go on adventures with someone like you. So I thought every time I come back home, I will start giving away the used gear. I mean, obviously it's used gear that I don't want anymore to my newsletter subscribers. So you can sign up with the link below. But I have not figured out the details yet, how this giveaway is gonna look, but I still have a few days to figure that out. So let's talk about what I learned while I used this bag and why I think it's not for me. So this bag had a few features that I really enjoyed using, especially this front pocket with the divider where I can stuff all my things on the go was extremely nice to use while traveling. Another thing I learned is that I really enjoy using this 35-liter size. I never compressed it, I never used the extension, I always went just with this 35-liter size. And coming from a 30-liter bag and basically having more or less the same stuff, this just really gave me enough slack or a little bit of extra room that made my trip much more comfortable. Another thing I learned is that I personally really prefer more minimal bags. I mean, this bag is great with all these compartments and zippers and stuff, but honestly, I did not use half of them as much as they should be used. And I also never use these extra pockets that are here behind the bottle holders. I don't know what to put in there because once the bottle is inside, everything will be bent outwards like this. So I think this bag is probably more enjoyable for someone who likes to stuff all his things into these little compartments, whereas I much more prefer to have my little modules together in separate packing cubes. And another thing that I personally should avoid on my perfect travel bag are parts that can be removed. For example, like this chest strap in here, I almost lost it because when I had it in an overhead compartment on a train, it had this grid pattern. This thing got snatched in there and I almost lost it on the first trip. And from then on, I was a little bit more careful, and actually towards the end, I removed it. Plus also there's 2 more straps that you can attach here to the front to put things, but unfortunately it also comes off on both sides. So even though I think it's beautifully made and it looks really high quality, for me personally, I lose everything. I need stuff that is permanently attached to my bag. And the biggest reason why this bag unfortunately is not the perfect bag for me is just simply the weight. And to be honest, I was in a very special situation for the first time in my life, that I was the one with the heaviest and largest bag of the people who traveled with me. I honestly just prefer or need for my stuff a more lightweight bag. I think this bag is probably great when you go on car trips and you don't have to carry it around a lot, and also if you don't fly. Because I had the problem that in Europe, my limitation on one flight was 7 kilos. So I really had to remove some of the things I usually travel with. The size and stuff was no problem at all. It was just really the weight. And that's why for me personally, this bag is not the perfect travel bag. Even though I wish it was, because it's really beautiful and I love the quality. And I'm really amazed that after 6 months of using this bag, it still looks like brand new. So yes, I think someone else will be very happy with this bag. So if you have this bag, let me know how it works for you. If you want this bag or any other of my used gear, then sign up for my newsletter. And yeah, I'm excited that my search for the perfect travel bag continues. So thanks for watching and I see you in the next video. Bye!